Well, good evening. What's up? We're back.
Yeah.
We got a full house tonight too. Steve is under construction. He's
Look at that background.
Yeah, he is in
I'm in the basement.
He's in the basement. They're doing some construction work. They've completely stripped the walls. He pulled off the wood paneling in favor of some cinder blocks. So that is Stephen Willis. Below him is Jeb Beechum. What's up, Jeb? And Jake Thomas from Tide Talk Podcast and Best of the West. And you already know. And I'm Corey Burton. I come at you from Beast of the East, where Vinny, Israel, and I we focus when there is a focus on the SEC East, but really we're just kind of three different perspectives and a spinoff of SEC After Dark. Let's just be honest about that. We riff on a lot of topics with that as well. So you can also find me on Bleav In Georgia Dawgs and of course Illegal Motion College Football Podcast, which I think we're just going to rebrand to Illegal Motion because we're going to involve some other things here in the near future. So I'm a little bit of everywhere. This show is brought to you by Bet Online. Steve, we can do some dueling reads here. But betonline.ag are our partners at BetOnline. Continue to be the number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the greatest sports developments. Find all the latest as well, including updated odds on the NBA playoffs. The Hawks are playing in their play-in game, fights, and even next season's futures for NFL and college. Don't forget MLB is back as well. We'll get to probably one of the most shocking and head-scratching moves to happen. But who are you picking to win the World Series? There's some odds on that. I think just because I'm a Braves fan, I got to go repeat, baby. Repeat.
You're a Bars fan?
I'm a Bars fan, yes. So BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering needs, including live betting in your favorite Vegas casino and poker games. It's super easy to get started. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to join. Use our promo code Bleav. That's BLEAV. To receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. Guys, I got an action-packed show again. The Masters, probably one of the least exciting world number one players, became an irrelevant golf tournament at hole 12 for Cameron Smith when he triple bogeyed it, dropped it, put it in the water, thus ruining his career, as legend has it. But I mean, Rory McIlroy making a run. I mean, there was some pretty good stuff. I mean, the Masters is always good. It just wasn't a classic Masters like some in years past. But very good tournament as always.
Hey, Scotty Scheffler has won like 5 tournaments this year, including the Masters. So I mean, he's on a roll right now.
Oh, he's hot. He's hot as a firecracker. But
yeah,
he's just so methodical, and he's just so like even keeled. It's not like for TV wise, it's not exciting, but I mean he's well deserving of the number one ranking. That's for sure.
Absolutely. By the way, this is my birthday week, so
congratulations!
It's tomorrow. So.
You're turning 29.
Yeah, I'll be 31.
So you're 29.
Pretty much.
No, he's not that old. Now, I could say I was 29, although you wouldn't believe it. But I actually ordered a beer at a restaurant like the other day, and they didn't card me. And I told her, I was like, "Hey, you didn't card me." And she went, "I know." And that's the point where I just died a little inside.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, last night everybody at my table got carded except me, so I get it.
Hey, I've had this beard since I was like. Or I had some kind of facial hair since I was like 12. I've never once been carded for dip anywhere.
I think they told me with the gray in my beard.
You're in Alabama, Jake. They don't. That's like they don't card for that stuff in Alabama.
No.
Dip.
Oh yeah, dip.
You have like as a baby, you have formula in Copenhagen.
That's right.
They kind of just go.
Yeah, you put a little bit of Copenhagen formula, and you're good to go.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Jake's rolling up in his little rolling walker bebop thing. He's like, "Hey, Mom."
Yeah.
Right. He had his spittoon working on his accuracy at age 1.
Yep.
He's the Tiger Woods of dip spitting.
He's not from Texas.
No.
I know he's from Alabama.
Yeah.
So
Diet Coke, Jeb?
speaking of Alabama, USFL starts this weekend. The first game Saturday, the New Jersey Generals versus the Birmingham Stallions, and these these top shelf teams debuting, and then a triple header Sunday, including the last game with Jordan Talmu and his former Ole Miss Rebel self and the Tampa Bay Bandits taking on I don't know who they're playing, but we'll see. It's going to be great. I'm excited about that because Ole Miss's quarterbacks that they signed in 2016 and 2017 ended up being like picks number 1 and 2 in the USFL draft.
Yeah.
Yep. I saw that.
That's a claim to fame right there, man.
Yeah, that's a history question.
That is a history question. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think Jeff Fisher picked one of them, didn't he? With
Yes,
Michigan,
he picked Shea Patterson. He picked the wrong one.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh ruined him even further, if that's possible.
Oh.
not unusual for Fisher, though. So,
Speaking of ruining in college football, is college football officially ruined? I mean, we're having all these NIL talks. Saban weighed in on it today, so that's nobody's going to beat Bama now. A&M done woke up the sleeping giant. Dabo talking out of both sides of his mouth. I mean, is it really just another pro league at this point?
Yeah, it's minor league football. That's what it is, and it has become more and more. Whenever I talk about ruining college sports, I think that this NIL and transfer portal and this player movement that we all have been asking for years for the players to be able to get, now that they've got it, it's going to change the relationship between the player and the fan at these universities. There's not fifth-year seniors that's going to be heroes. Like Eli Manning stayed 5 years. Peyton Manning stayed 5 years or 4 years into a senior. That's not going to happen anymore. They're going to stay until the start. If they're not, they're gone. And basically, you can cherry pick players that are good players that are diamonds in the roughs that signed in like the MAC or the Sun Belt to bring up to your area, and you can go down and get players that just might not be getting on the field at Georgia, like Otis Reese at Ole Miss, and everything can change. Ole Miss has completely transformed their roster. Ole Miss has completely transformed their roster in this offseason. Before the season, they went to the Sugar Bowl last year with 17 players rated 4-star or better coming out of high school. Right now, they're at 34. This is a completely different team this year than it was just last year, and it was all because of the transfer portal.
Yeah, I mean, it's there are obviously advantages to it. I mean, I think when you look at player movement and doing what's best for the players, if the whole argument of if the coaches can move, players can move, and if there's money involved, you take that excuse away. And if a player's just not happy in a situation, like let's say they sign and their coach goes on to coach somewhere else, and they should be able to leave. However, I think with NIL, with transfer portal, all that stuff, you've got to put a little bit of regulation on it so that it doesn't completely have this complete roster upheaval, right?
Yeah.
John, I mean, maybe, but I mean, we've talked about before. Look what Southern Miss did in the portal. They took all of Ole Miss and Mississippi State's second and third stringers, and they made a completely new team. Mm-hmm. So I mean, they was already kind of up on the up and up. Now
it's going to kill high school recruiting.
And it will kill recruiting.
Well, and part of what he's saying, and he's kind of got a point here, John, does that y'all keep up with this a lot. For average fans who aren't just every day living and breathing, they love their team. It's hard to keep up with what's going on. Like, I don't know who's on the team from one day to the next, or who's going to be here next, where they're going. Mm-hmm.
You can't identify with it. Like,
I'm used to being able to learn about kids and like them and watch them play, but now,
like, that's might not be here next week. Nobody is like the idea of a diehard pro sports fan doesn't exist because players move so frequently that you can't really get attached. That's why people jump from team to team and team. In the NFL, the NBA, not necessarily Major League Baseball, but that's why so many people are like, well, I'm a Lakers fan now. Okay, well, now I'm a Heat fan. Now on this, like they just go to like you see what I did there?
They're front runners.
Yeah, they just go to where all the talent is, right?
Not me.
Because that's what they identify with. And, people have their different reasons. But if you can't identify with players, it's going to be kind of hard to root for that team.
It's hard to be as passionate. That is true. Because I love the Titans, but I'm more passionate about the Vols. But I get more invested in the kids because they come in, as 18-year-olds and watch them play for years. And
they kind of grow up in the program.
Yeah, and then you're all proud of them when they get drafted and all that. But now,
and that's been the cycle. They come in, they grow up, they leave. Come in, they grow up, they leave, and that's kind of the cycle. But you know that once you get them, more than likely they're going to be there. It's not the case anymore. Like, you're like, okay, we're going to be set here. We have a junior starting, so this freshman's going to come in and he's gonna learn. He's going to be back. That doesn't exist anymore. Like, it's just going to be freshman football.
Yeah.
Also, John, you're talking about Southern Miss is never going to challenge Alabama, but here's the point. They don't have to. That's not what they do. Now, the question is, are they going to challenge Louisiana? Are they going to challenge Coastal Carolina? And the answer to that is probably yes.
That's what they're trying to build up for.
You take SEC cast-offs and you're there. I mean, they're trying to get to a bowl game. They're trying to get attention to their program so that they can be the best in their conference, which I think they're Sun Belt now. So,
and the other thing that you mentioned, John, I would love it the SEC become its own league and got rid of the NCAA because the NCAA is garbage.
Yeah, can't argue with that.
I mean, they have to exist to be garbage.
Well, that's a good point.
Also, the two coaches that are coming out talking about the ruining of college sports are people that are established on programs that are currently at the top of college football. When Clemson's coach and Alabama's coach is worried about them slipping, that might not necessarily be a bad thing. Now, there's always a slippery slope. But the people that want the playoff to stay at 4 is Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, and teams that are just pretty consistently invited to the party. If that goes out, you can't recruit to it, and all of a sudden they're a little bit less dominant than they were. But that isn't necessarily a ruining college football thing. I think that's a good thing. But if it stays at 4 and they're allowed to recruit and become even more dominant, like the rich get richer, that would ruin college football.
Yeah, because there's 4 teams and everybody else is just kind of playing just to play.
Especially for a team like Ole Miss and the SEC, Alabama and Georgia are fighting for that playoff spot. I mean, it's pretty consistent. What are they even playing for? Yes, Ole Miss went to a Sugar Bowl this year. That's really great, and that's really fun for an Ole Miss fan. But at the end of the day, they're trying to get to Atlanta and then move on to something else.
Yeah. And that's part of playing in that league. I mean, Alabama's just on top right now, but when Saban retires, it's gonna all even itself out. It's gonna be cyclical. I mean, you're gonna have Florida's gonna come back up to the top of the pile at some point. Tennessee will come back up to the top of the pile at some point, and it'll just cycle. Now, what I think ought to happen is if they're going to tinker with playoffs, I ought to think they go to the high school model and have classifications like P5, G5. And then your FCS, your everything from FCS below, I think is in good shape. But I think you gotta split FBS into 2 classifications so that you can have more interesting football. I mean, just think if there was if you had G5, P5 national champions and a tournament, like 12-team tournament that went with it, you would have some good football. The G5s could recruit to the G5 playoff and a G5 national championship, right? And that's not there's no downgrade in that. I mean, it's just, a 2A state champion and a 6A state champion in Georgia is the same. They're state champions.
Yeah. North Dakota State, there's nobody complaining about what's going on recruiting-wise there.
No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, Valdosta State is just as much of a national champion as
really
Georgia.
Be a national champion other than beating a 7-win Auburn team or whatever they did in the Peach Bowl.
Probably not. They'd probably lose to BYU or somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I think they ought to look at that. I mean, that's if you want to make college football better. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
People might stay at these G5 schools if there's a national championship.
Yeah, and people that point to the playoff and it's like Georgia blew out Michigan and Alabama blew out Cincinnati. See? That's the stupidest damn argument ever. Yeah. It's not even built. Those games might not ever happen if it was constructed in a different way. It's completely dumb and is not any sense. It's basically confirmation bias. They decided that it needed to be 4 teams or 2 teams, and they're going to use whatever as an example of why that should happen.
And if Alabama and Georgia still ended up in the national championship after a 12-team playoff, so be it. I mean, it's it is what it is. They have
if they end after a 12-team playoff, if they're playing for it, they are more deserving to be there than in a 14 playoff, winning one game. They had a harder road to get there.
I guarantee you, there's not a whole lot of teams that would want to see Ohio State and Utah in that scenario this past season. I mean, that was you watch that game and you're like, oh, okay. Like, I'm glad these 2 teams weren't in the playoff because that might have been your national championship.
Yeah,
those 2 teams were hot, and Utah was coming off an absolute thrashing of Oregon in the Pac-12 championship.
Because Oregon did not adjust to getting thrashed the first time around.
No,
Utah.
Oregon is soft.
Right.
Yeah, and now that softness is down at the U, baby. It's all about the U.
Yeah.
It's all the U, soft as Charmin.
Yeah. Offensive or defensive analyst, Cody Orgeron. That makes me feel old. I remember when he threw dirt carts at a dentist, and there was a big athletic department controversy because of Coach O's kids hitting a powerful alumnus, throwing dirt at their houses. It was like a big thing for like a week. It was ridiculous. There was always a story there. Kelly Orgeron yelling at the officials where they thought they might get attacked during a youth basketball game of 8-year-olds. I mean, that type of stuff. This is what we dealt with during that reign.
There you go. It's hard-hitting stuff. Mm-hmm. But at least we got USC, who I want check in on their spring practice, see if they've had a string of see if they were able to top the most perfect practice of all time.
No, yeah,
like that masterpiece of a first practice.
Yeah, it is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Oh, Colin.
It's unbelievable. Did y'all hear about the story about the umpire that umpired a 12-year-old softball game that got attacked?
Yeah.
And beaten up?
That's why sports is going to go away eventually. Because people don't know how to act.
No. Attacked by parents or kids?
Attacked by parents as they were walking off the field.
Okay.
It was a female umpire. She
I did see that.
She had a picture of herself with like this huge
black eye,
like swollen right here, right here on the top, and she told her story. She's like, yeah, and I'm a coach. I've been frustrated and mad and upset with officials. But I've never ever thought about hitting one. Never.
Yeah. It's emotional immaturity, man. That's what it is. It's emotional immaturity. Some people can't handle when things don't go their way. They get their hopes up, and when it gets dashed, they do not know how to deal with it. It's because the participation trophies have happened since they were a kid. Everything works, and whenever bad things happen, they don't know how to deal with it. And they're teaching their kids how not to deal with it. If you want to talk
back full circles,
if you want to talk about groomers, there you go. You're teaching your kid how to be a horrible human being.
Well, I mean, you think about in her case, I think she was an umpire. And they've been talking about getting rid of umpires like at the major league level for a while, going to a computer system. But if there's not any umpires on the field in that case, you got to think that they want to make the game, especially baseball, quicker instead of these 3-4 hour games. Well, if you have a computer, you got to go to the computer screen like after every play because there could be a bang play at first. You got to go check it. Yeah, go check it home.
I think they just wanted to do away with the home plate umpire.
But still, you got a home bang bang play at home. Who's going to look at it? Unless you get the first base or the second base guy to run down there.
Yeah, somebody's going to have to run and get in position. I don't know. I don't think it'll happen.
I just don't think computers getting involved in the sports world needs to be.
I don't like what they're doing to baseball. Some of this is real weird.
No.
Have you heard that they're taking away next year the shift? You're not even allowed to shift.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make
What is
sense.
that?
Yeah, and
What a shift?
Okay, this is the stupidest thing ever. Okay, they're taking away the shift and they're banning that. But there's the unwritten rule in baseball about bunting down the third base line to get on base.
Yeah.
And so teams won't do it. And oh my goodness, what is going on?
Yeah, they want more scoring, but also the games to be faster. I don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
weird.
John, your OC is a groomer. Yeah, I mean, there was a bench clearing brawl. I was reading the comments. I don't know if I didn't hear the first part of what you said, but there was a bench clearing brawl because somebody bunted. They were up 9-0. Somebody bunted for a base hit. And there was a bench clearing brawl because of it.
That was the Padres and Giants, I think.
Yeah, and there's a whole racial slur thing that happened in that whole scenario.
I'm sorry, but I mean,
It wasn't really a racial slur, but the guy said it was racial undertones.
I'm sorry. If I'm a Major League Baseball player, and I have a 15-game hitting streak, and I'm 0-3 coming up to my last at bat for the game, and they're shifting me, and I can put one, bunt right down the third base line, I'm going to do it to keep my hitting streak alive. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. What's wrong with that? I don't see anything wrong with that.
I'm going to do it to get a runner on base.
Exactly.
The art of going 3 for 4, Tony Gwynn, doesn't exist in baseball now. If you go 1 for 4 and that one is a deep fly, all of a sudden you had a great game. No, you had a 250 night.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, if you go 3 for 4 and you are consistently putting people on base, you have a chance to score more runs. The big problem with Ole Miss baseball right now is they hit 9 home runs against Alabama this weekend. They got swept. It was all solo and nothing home runs in the game, and Alabama just kind of kept going, and all of a sudden they couldn't manufacture runs. This Ole Miss situation it's so frustrating to see. It's like
Because
what we
nobody
played
wants to
baseball.
put the ball in play.
Yeah, the baseball that we
Home
played
run or
growing up doesn't exist anymore.
Yes. Right.
The baseball I played was just hit the damn thing as hard as you can into a gap and run.
Right.
Yeah, a line drive was the play. That was the thing. Everybody told you. Solid contact, line drive. That was the best thing. Now everybody's swinging up an angle, launch angle. They want to hit everything over the fence. They say a strikeout doesn't matter, which is absolute horseshit.
Right.
And it just drives me crazy. This is the reason baseball is unwatchable other than the Savannah Bananas.
It doesn't always happen. The first game with the Reds and the Braves, that's why the Reds beat them. I must have hit 15 just little singles right over the infield into the outfield.
I mean,
I could tell
in the
you.
play, you force fielders to make plays.
Right.
Yeah.
And in college
hit home
baseball, the more chances you give guys to make errors, they will make them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I tell you, the thing, especially with the Braves that I've seen the past couple of years, talking about the home run or die mentality, I mean, I have seen it many a times. They would get a runner on third base with no outs and fail to get him in because they don't play small ball. They try to go out there and knock one 450 feet instead of trying to get that runner in, and the guy would get stranded, and we lose games because of that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolute bullcrap.
You strike out twice, the sack flies off the table, and you end up putting 0 up that inning when he's runner on third with no out. It's stupid. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It is.
Yeah. When all you have to do is essentially hit it to the right side of the infield.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they're playing up, but you
just hit it to the shortstop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just hit a little dribbler up the middle. I mean, just put it into the grass. You just have to clear the dirt in that scenario.
Yeah, it's hard not to score with a runner on third with no outs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Braves have done it plenty of times.
Suicide squeeze.
Yeah.
Hit and run. Do something like.
But when you say that, people come up and they tell you, "Oh, you don't know baseball." Oh, really? Okay. My take's the problem of what's going on. It's like, no,
speaking of
gorilla ball sucks.
It was. I think it's been a couple of weeks now, but I forgot who Texas was playing. But Texas lost a game because a guy stole home, and
Texas Tech,
and the Texas, pitcher did not look over there. He was just looking down, and the guy just took off for home and got it.
Yeah, I think he was in the windup in extra innings. Yeah, I think he was in the wind.
He was in the windup, and he wasn't even like he didn't even glance at the guy. The guy just took off, and he just went through his routine, and didn't even. I mean, just was not paying one bit of attention.
That people are so into analytics. We talk about Ole Miss's defense. They do the 3-2-6 on defense, and what they do is they do the way they teach quarterbacks and the offensive rules and use them against the offense. Like, as soon as the quarterback breaks the pocket, the middle linebacker rushes full out, leaving a giant hole in the middle of the field. Quarterback's not going to throw the ball over the cross in the middle, rolling out to the right. And you end up getting sacks upon sacks. Like, I think Chance Campbell had like 8 or 9 sacks last year just doing that. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, people are so...
Same with Kobe Dean,
Yeah. They're so numbers crunched on exactly how they do it. Whenever you play the position, it has to be exactly this way. And you have to make it work. And it just doesn't work anymore. And you can use it against people.
And at some point, just play baseball. At some point, just play football. Mm-hmm. At some point, analytics should take you to a certain point. And that certain point is preparation. Yeah. When it's game on, you just got to go. You just got to play.
Mm-hmm. We talked about before we come on about how analytics has killed baseball because today Clayton Kershaw was up for was it a no-hitter?
I think it was a perfect game, wasn't it?
He had a perfect game through 7. He had 6 more outs to get 6 more outs. You think
80 pitches.
80 pitches. So I'm gonna ask you first question.
Was that a pitch
Has
count?
Clayton Kershaw ever pitched above 100 pitches?
Probably.
I'm sure he has.
Yeah. He's probably. Yeah. I mean, early in his career, he was averaging 130 pitches.
Right.
And he was throwing 8-9 inning games frequently. Okay. Question number 2. Do you think the way that Minnesota was hitting, they were down 3-0, they probably weren't going to see a deep count because they need to get aggressive swinging. Do you think he would have thrown 25 more pitches for 6 outs?
No,
not a chance. But Dave Roberts has no testicles, and he decides to pull him because he said pitch count. But the kid's got a perfect game. He's not really a kid, but dude's got a perfect game.
How many games did Noah and Ryan pitch?
Listen. Yeah, hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
It's not like this is like your 5th starter or like the guy from the bullpen that you brought in to spot start. Like, okay.
This is the Hall of Famer.
This is your ace for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's earned that right.
Yeah.
To at least see it out. If someone gets a hit on him, then pull him.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. But let him play out the perfect game. But Steve, yes, Nolan Ryan probably pitched. He pitched complete games into his 40s.
Yeah,
140 pitches.
Yeah, 160 pitches, and he pitched till he was 45 years old, and
he was still throwing cheese.
Yeah.
Yes.
People are soft today, and John talks about the length of the major league season. Not for a pitcher. It's 30 or 40 games if they're healthy all the way through it. And
John, that's not my direct quote, but I like it though.
Nerd.
Yeah, I like the movie Moneyball. I do not like the methodology behind Moneyball. Yeah. Because it's right, because it makes the game less interesting, and it's basically killed baseball.
It has.
I think if you use analytics right, it can be really good for you and give you an advantage of winning baseball and putting runs across the plate. I think there's some genius to it, but I think it's gotten way out of hand to where, like, managers used to make decisions on instinct and gut feeling and feel of the game, and they were baseball people. And now those people have since retired. And what's frustrating is that Dave Roberts is a former player.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best moments of his career was stealing second in the ALCS to spark a rally to get Boston from a 3-0 series deficit to the Yankees to go on and win their first World Series in 100 years.
Yeah.
He's the one that sparked it. Why? Because Terry Francona on a whim said, "Hey, screw this. We got fortunate that Rivera walked us, so I'm gonna put Dave Roberts in here. We're gonna try to steal a run. We're gonna put pressure on Posada. We're gonna put pressure on the Yankees to get us out," and they didn't.
Right.
And it changed the
pressure
tide
on
of the
that
series.
defense.
And analytics would have never done that, probably.
No.
If you look at Lane Kiffin, and we're going to change it over to football for a second, when he goes for it on 4th and 12 on his own 35-yard line, he's going to blame it on analytics if he doesn't make it. Everything's going to be analytics. There's no book in the world that would tell him to go for it on 4th and 12 on his own 35. So sometimes
watched the
coaches
Kevin
use
Kelly.
it. The excuse of analytics. And, it's one of those things like, sorry, it was the book. And it was like, really, 4th and 12 from your own 35. Okay. Okay.
Right.
No, you're reeling at that point.
Yeah.
Nobody believes it. But analytics causes Matt LaFleur to kick a field goal in the NFC Championship and never get the ball back and lose the game.
The only analytic argument I will hear from anybody on any subject about anything in sports is Dave Aranda kicking a field goal at the end of the Oklahoma game to win by 10, because for tiebreaker purposes, he needed those points.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I don't. You can if you can explain it, great.
John, you think about the SEC championship game. I mean, Georgia.
I'm not saying all analytics are bad.
No, Georgia did not pressure Alabama whatsoever in that game, and they got their ass handed to them. Fast forward to the national championship game, they started blitzing, and they blitzed hard, and it becomes successful. And look what happened: Georgia whipped Alabama's ass. So there you go.
Yeah. And it didn't matter that 2 receivers went down.
Right.
But Jake, I did have to have a chuckle at the thing you were looking forward to is to see who the wide receivers are going to be.
Yeah.
I had to have a little chuckle at that because it's like the hot button thing with that. Well, you only won because our 2 receivers went down.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm sitting there. Every time someone says it to me, somebody said it to me the other day, and I was like, "Yeah, it's Alabama." Like that is the program that has the least excuse for not having 2 more stud receivers ready to go.
We did not have them coached up ready to go.
No, you didn't.
And we'll get to it, but this spring and this little spring camp that they've been doing, they're getting everybody some time. I mean,
Dan Lanning was not relieved of his duties. He got this thing called the Oregon head coaching job.
Right.
And he was busy doing that. So they handed over play calling to the new defensive coordinators who are already on staff.
Muschamp,
the defense coordinator.
Yeah, Muschamp, and then Schumann's going to do the game planning, but Muschamp's going to call the plays.
Yeah.
Oregon's getting fool's gold and Lanning. I don't think so. I think Lanning is really, really good.
They're not going to be soft, that's for sure.
They will not be soft. They will recruit well.
Mm-hmm.
Lanning is going to be good out there.
Here's the problem that he has. Dan Lanning in Oregon, I love that hire. Him in Oregon, I think he would have continued what Mario Cristobal did, the dominance on the West Coast. But when Lincoln Riley went to USC, that changed the dynamic to have another ace recruiter out there on the West Coast. And we'll see if Dan Lanning is going to recruit at the same level that even Mario Cristobal was able to get to, because Clay Helton, Georgia Southern's coach, he's probably at the right level now. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, California's a big state, bro.
Yeah, but
yes,
Oregon was coming down into Los Angeles and getting players that SC normally got. Mm-hmm. That's the reason Oregon became dominant in the Pac-12. Now, that's going to change a little bit. It's going to be diluted. Instead of 12 4-stars that Dan Lanning can get, he might only can get 8. So
that's fine.
Yeah,
he can coach a little bit too. He's hired a good staff. The good news is that we're going to be in the Pac-12 North. You'll see it in the Pac-12 South. They'll meet in the title game.
Oh yeah, Alabama and Georgia proves that this can be done. I'm just saying that Oregon has made a living in USC's territory, and will Lincoln Riley be able to push that off?
Yeah, he will.
And John, Corey's already said but yes, they did, because I go back to the third quarter. After halftime, they started running the ball down our throats, and we could not stop their run game, and that went well into the fourth quarter as well, where they took pretty much all the time off the clock in the fourth quarter.
I think Dan Lanning was still a part of the staff,
right?
He still had a lot of hand in the game planning aspect of it. He just didn't call plays.
Man, I saw a lot of Will Muschamp in that game.
You did. Well, it's obvious, but Lanning still had a little bit to do with the game plan. I think it was a staff thing that, hey, we've got to be more aggressive. Whoever's calling plays, we got to be more aggressive. We cannot let Bryce Young sit back there and pick us apart. And they didn't. There's no excuse if we have, 5 guys that are probably going to go in the first 2 rounds, or probably the first 35 picks. You got 5 guys on the defense who are going to go in the first 35 picks. Maybe even 6 guys that are going to go in the first 2 rounds with Lewis Seen. But you can't have that many NFL guys and do what you did in the SEC championship, which was atrocious. Which I don't know. Like, once Bama got the ball rolling, it just seemed like we were just like, we'll see them later. Let's just survive and get out of here.
Also, next year could be the first year in a very long time, probably since Urban Meyer was at Florida, where the SEC East is kind of a bear.
It's good. Yeah, it's a good thing. I want a more competitive SEC, because I don't want the excuse of, well, Georgia only won the East because everybody sucks. That's not the case. It's never been the case. But it's been more down than it has been. But I want whoever wins that division. If Georgia wins that division, I want them to truly deserve it. Tennessee was a very much improved team. That was to do what we did on the road at Tennessee. I think it was more of a depth thing than anything. I think if Tennessee had more depth, they would have hung in that game a little bit longer. But Tennessee is going to be remarkably better. Florida is going to be remarkably better, because I think they're going to have a more stable culture. It's going to – I don't know if the Billy Napier is going to buy into the Butch Jones school of cheesiness. He kind of already is. But I hope that doesn't spread too far. Then Kentucky is – they're not going anywhere. They're just a
solid team. Yeah, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah. They're not going anywhere. South Carolina's getting much, much better.
They're on the up and up.
Then you have Mizzou and Vandy, who are just
going to get their ass beat.
They're just going to get their ass handed to them. Every division, every conference has to have the two whipping boys, and Mizzou and Vandy are that.
On the West, it's going to be Auburn this year. I have a feeling.
The West, yeah.
Quit smiling when you say that.
Yeah, really. Shouldn't giggle with that.
Yeah. But, I Tennessee's gonna be good, man. I really do.
I do too.
On the West is Alabama, Ole Miss, A&M,
Arkansas.
LSU's going to be good, because I don't care what anybody says. Brian Kelly's won every single place he's been. He's going to win at LSU.
Yeah, we love to have fun at his expense, but he's a damn good coach.
Yeah, Arkansas is going to be good.
Yeah,
and then at the bottom, you got Mississippi State and Auburn. I think Auburn, they might pull a 4-8 this year. I mean, anytime you're looking at T.J. Finley or Zach Calzada to be your savior, that's a problem.
Yeah, it's not good.
That ain't good.
Who was that transfer? Ashford.
Cole Ashford.
Robbie Ashford.
Robert Ashford.
Who?
Cole Ashford is plays for Chelsea, doesn't he?
They said he had a really good spring game at Auburn. They said he may come for Calzada's job.
Yeah,
why not? Just give it to him.
Yeah, if they're smart,
really.
Auburn will really look at Robbie Ashford moving forward.
Yeah, if they want to win, they probably need to.
Yeah, Calzada, T.J. Finley. If T.J. Finley takes anywhere near a snap, this is a 2-win season for Auburn.
Well, if T.J. Finley takes a snap, Brian Harsin just trolling
he's trying to get out of there, Brian. Because I don't know if Brian Harsin's going to be the coach at Auburn come Christmas.
He's on the first thing smoking, man.
Yeah, because they just completely tried to wreck his personal life.
He'll be the next head coach at Kansas State or wherever. Kansas State's actually
not Kansas State. Yeah, not Kansas State.
Be pretty good, but he'll be the next head coach at Kansas.
Also, I love that. Speaking of Kansas football, basically between Kansas and Kansas State, it's like 2004 football. If you want to go back in a time machine and see what football was 20 years ago, watch a Kansas State game.
Leopold versus Kleiman.
Mm-hmm.
Love that fucking murder ball. Love it. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. The Big 12 was like, what is this crap?
And Baylor's running that too. Remember when the Big 12 we all used to joke about the Mike Leach or all those guys throwing the ball over the yard? Man, Baylor just flat out lined up against Ole Miss and Ole Miss's defense just eventually broke, but they played a good game. But Baylor's like, we don't care if we get first downs. We're going to run it 3 times and punt if we have to. And then we're going to put our defense on the field.
Grunt and punt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, the Big 12 just got better because JT Daniels is going to be burning couches next year.
Country roads.
West Virginia, yeah.
Dude, I made a comment today that his picture that they put of him committing, he looks like the perfect moonshiner. And he may get a chance.
He looks like an extra in Wyatt Earp.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
He might disappear into them hills.
That's right. Yep.
Never to be heard from again.
He has a plan, guys. He has a plan.
That's right.
And also, this is SEC After Dark, but I am so looking forward to the Sun Belt this year. I am going to watch Sun Belt games this year.
That's SEC Junior.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Fun Belt.
Yeah, the Fun Belt.
Moonshining idea.
I mean, come on. Like, look at. I mean, James Madison's going to come in. That's going to be fun. Coastal's always a fun team to watch.
Marshall coming down.
Marshall's coming in. You know, you'll have Georgia Southern. Georgia State is a much improved team. The Mustard Buzzards. We'll see what they can do with their whole new team. I mean, there's just tons of fun, man.
Texas State with Jake Spavital.
Yeah.
Louisiana. Troy's in that. It's
the Fun Belt.
Yeah, I love that conference, and I'm going to watch those games. It might be on tape delay, but I'm going to watch those games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm the Fun Belt, I'm putting my Fun Belt game of the week on Wednesday night.
Yeah, on Wednesday night, me sitting out in the pool, floating with a beer in my hand, watching USM versus James Madison. Let's get it on. Let's do it.
Wait, are you doing the show from the pool now?
Oh, that one I have no show to do.
On Wednesdays?
You
quitting?
Well, I'll make sure my show is already done. I mean,
you quitting us? You
We
retired?
did this at 8:30. That would probably be going on like at 8:30.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, we were live. Wait.
I'm going to come do our show. I'm just
He
saying,
said he did
from
say
7
I'm saying
to
you're gonna-
8:30, I can
I'm
be
saying
able
you're
to
gonna
crawl out of the
float
pool.
around.
Hey, I'm
With
here
a
for
beer
it
in
if you
my
want to do it
hand.
from the pool. I mean, you get that wireless microphone, put a little back around it.
you
man.
might
be onto something.
Just like wearing a Speedo.
I could absolutely,
Or do.
I could
Or do.
absolutely do a show from the pool.
You should.
I figured out how to logistically do that, and one of these days for like a post game pod or post game live, I'm going to do that. But I have figured out honestly how to do that. I just need a cameraman.
Are you wearing a Lane Kiffin Speedo?
No. I need a Land Shark one though. I think.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. You need a cameraman to follow you around.
Yeah, I just need a cameraman to do all the work.
Jake,
John, I'm always big time in those guys. Don't say now.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a private jet and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Steve's going to show up in his Armani suit with diamond rings.
But
He's
by
gonna,
the
he's
way,
gonna have he's going to have a four-finger ring.
yeah, this is a 9-month-old T-shirt. By the way, it looks like I got it in 2002. 9 months old.
Well done.
Yeah. I'll mention the company because it's angry. I've got shirts from my time at Ole Miss that look better than this one.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah. That makes me angry.
Well, how's Jake? I'm hearing good things about Jermaine Burton. How's spring practice going down there?
Jermaine's looking really good. The raw receiver to watch is Aaron Anderson. There's been a lot of talk about him being compared to Jalen Waddle speed-wise, but he's a true freshman, so who knows if he'll see the field. But he is taking first team snaps. We just got I think it's Tyler Sheen or Steen from Vandy, offensive lineman. So once he gets there, he'll probably be automatically slated to a starting 5 spot there on the offensive line. And the defense, of course, with Will Anderson and Dallas Turner is just,
gross.
Yeah, I don't know how you're gonna block them two guys, but
You're not.
Yeah, you're
not.
So you're getting last year.
Yeah.
I mean.
So yeah, I would say probably the weakness right now is trying to find out who that 5th starter is going to be on the offensive line. J.C. Latham's played a little bit of right tackle, so we'll see if he's slotted there. But yeah, there's a lot of good things going on. We got John Hall. He finally went in the portal, so we'll see where he ends up. And I wish nothing but the best for the guy. I just hope he gets some of his issues taken care of.
Feels like USA that level.
Yeah. And a lot of people are saying he's going to go to Texas and put up like eight receptions, like 130 yards against us, which I can see that in week 2. He could be petty enough to do that.
He could be.
Yeah.
But
the problem with Texas has good players. Yeah. I think Xavier Worthy. I mean, that dude's legit.
Yeah. Well, you'll have Eli Ritz versus Xavier Worthy on week 2. Alabama Ritz versus Texas Worthy. It's going to be a good matchup.
I forgot y'all got Ricks. God.
And this year they moved the Ole Miss Alabama game to November. It's in a place where it can be the 7:00 primetime CBS game. Since they're not going to,
yeah, and it could be for the SEC West, which I love. It's going to be a great game.
That'd be a fun show.
Yeah.
At Oxford this year too.
There you
go.
Mm-hmm.
Jeb, what's Tennessee looking like, man? Have you been following it?
Mostly attention tends to be on the offense. And it looks fine. Hendon Hooker looks really good. Of course, Joe Milton's been looking really good, but he always does in practice.
Don't say it.
Don't put him on the field.
Yeah, but they've liked it. And actually the freshman they've got that came in this year, Jackson's looked really, really good. So been really happy with all that. The pass catchers is pretty thin right now. Cedric Tillman obviously, but after him, there's this guy named, what's his name? It's like Keaton or something like that they tried so hard to get into the games last 2 years, and he just drops everything thrown at him. But they swear he's looking better. He had a lot of balls thrown his way, so I mean, if he starts learning how to actually catch a ball, he could be good.
Is Tillman going to be the next Velus Jones? I mean, who's going to take that role?
No, they've got a little guy named Hyatt who's really fast, and is another one that last year they wanted to get involved a lot, but he also had a little problem with drops. So
is my man Walker Merrill? Is he gonna?
He should actually play. So yeah.
What's the deal with Brew? Did Brew make a decision?
I have not heard anything about him. So no, not in the last week or two. I think it's been kind of silent.
I mean, he would be a great player to put opposite of Cedric Tillman.
Yeah, no, that's my hope right there is that he comes in and then defense, we have like a weird switch from last year. Now the linebackers look really good, which linebackers been a problem for Tennessee for last few years, but we have like 3 scholarship secondary players that are actually practicing, and everybody else is just walk-ons. We haven't had we've got 6 or 7 scholarship players that haven't practiced yet this spring. So
Andrew.
So the secondary could be rough. That's what I'm worried about.
By the way, in college football these days, whenever you have an open scrimmage, it's become in vogue to have injured players to where people can't come in and see exactly what you're doing. And the open practice is primarily just for recruiting. They want to see you have fun. They want to see what's going on, but you don't actually show anything. The closed practices are actually the places where they're doing everything.
Yeah. Well, I hope something special is going on behind closed doors then, because it's looking a little rough in the open practices. But I don't know. And it's again, I'm relying on other people to tell me this because I haven't been able to watch any of it. We didn't have, like I said, we didn't have an orange and white game this year, so I don't know what exactly is happening. But we're putting all our hopes on scoring, 75 points a game.
Yeah, no orange and white game means it's not televised on SEC Network, which means people can't see you guys run inside zone and basic pass concepts for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. But I don't know. I'm excited. I think the offense is going to be really good. We get Florida early, which is always nice. I'm hoping we'll catch them since, we have more of an established offense right now. I'm hoping we catch them early before they really get their act together. Yeah. LSU, man, and that's the hope with them too. Although, so many talented players there. I don't know. And then I'm sure our world will come crashing down when we run into Alabama. But whatever.
Most everybody does.
Yeah.
This is the year to catch LSU, by the way.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. Brian Kelly is going to do a good job down there, and people that say he's not, they're being silly. They're the same people that say, oh, Miami needs to get rid of Tua. The same people talking about LSU's not going to be able to recover because they got Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
No, considering we don't play them every year, I'm glad to get them this year with Brian Kelly's first year. And early enough in the season that maybe he won't have that all pulled together. And that's the only hope.
Yeah, there's a chance Ole Miss walks into that game 7-0, and Tiger Stadium will be an absolute zoo that night.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is that before the Bama game or after?
Yeah, that's before.
Yeah, there's a very good chance. Both Alabama and Ole Miss can be undefeated when they meet each other. That is insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
And very likely too.
Yeah, very likely.
Yeah, then Ole Miss goes to Fayetteville, which means if Ole Miss can beat Alabama, they can drop that Fayetteville game because I am fully expecting Ole Miss to lose to Arkansas in that game.
Yeah.
Oh.
There you go, Steve. Well, speaking of Ole Miss, Steve, I mean, obviously the Luke Altmaier Jackson Dart battle thing is that's a thing. But what else is happening?
Well, that is the story amongst Ole Miss fan bases. Everybody's surprised at how well Luke Altmaier has done in this early stages of competition with about a week left to go in it. And currently, Luke Altmaier the lead hasn't even shrunk that Luke Altmaier has over Jackson Dart. This is going to go into the fall. But like I told y'all earlier, it was always going to go into the fall. They're going to make this sound and make this look like Luke Altmaier has a chance so he doesn't transfer away.
Luke was pretty solid last year. I mean, when he had his chance. So
I like Luke Altmaier. He's a tough guy, and he's approached the spring ball like a Drew Brees type quarterback. He's very mechanical with his stuff, super efficient. And then you got Jackson Dart, who's the Brett Favre, who thinks he can make every throw at all times. Yeah. And so it's an interesting dynamic. The other player that stood out last Saturday was Ladarius Tennyson, the transfer from Auburn, who is replacing and playing the Jake Springer role that Ole Miss had last year. Kind of the hybrid linebacker. If they run a 3-2-6, but if it's a 3-3, that linebacker that turns into a D-back, that's what Tennyson is playing. Isheem Young is not. He's out this spring, so he's not even there. I think Ole Miss could possibly have a top 3 in the SEC defense.
Oh wow!
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty bold. I mean, that's kind of why I think Ole Miss is going to be a scary pick for that spot against Alabama, playing for the West in November. I mean, they're going to be much improved. I mean, if they had a mediocre defense 2 years ago, they had a chance of winning the West.
Yeah.
They were just a shit your pants game away against Alabama this year from being a factor in the West.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and in the Auburn game, Matt Corral and all the wide receivers were injured, but Auburn counts that as a win.
well,
they brag about winning that one. Ole Miss had no skill position players, but they don't talk about that.
You remember it was just 2 years ago in that 2020 game that Alabama Ole Miss game was just back and forth, and people say that was Alabama's best offensive, team they've ever had.
Yeah,
and I mean, Ole Miss was right there with them the entire time until.
Yeah, Ole Miss was a bad snap. It was a bad snap
right.
that did Ole Miss in because Ole Miss was getting ready to score again to make it. I think it was 42-42 or something like that.
Yeah,
and it was a bad snap. Ole Miss ended up having to kick a field goal. Alabama went down and scored a touchdown. It turned into a 10-point game. And
and they just never recovered.
Yeah, and they never recovered.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, for Auburn, they won a conference game. They were fortunate with injuries. I mean, Ole Miss has still got to have stuff ready for that contingency plan. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Not Auburn's best win by all means. And
If
if
Ole Miss didn't do analytics the whole game and just kick the field goals, Ole Miss would have won the game.
Right.
But they kept going for it on fourth down inside Auburn's 20-yard line.
Yeah. But there you go.
Yeah.
But what do you guys want to know about Georgia?
I'm curious how you're replacing all these players. You had so many guys. I mean, I'm sure you have great talent behind them, but I don't know who they are. So, I mean, people like Jordan Davis.
I think when you look at the defensive line, you got Zion Logan, Jalen Carter, who in no stretch is Jordan Davis and Devontae Wyatt. But they've had good spring practice. It'll be different. It won't be as creative as it was last year because you're going to have a lot of youth there.
Who is the James Cook on this team for next year?
Oh, Kendall Milton.
He's going to be the guy that unlocks defenses.
Him and Kenny McIntosh are going to be outstanding. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not worried about the running backs whatsoever.
Well, James Cook is he turned into a 220-pound wide receiver. You put him out there. He was such an elite player and all different things. I don't know if McIntosh or Milton, they're built that exact way.
McIntosh is bigger than you think he is.
Well, no, I'm talking about as a receiver when you can split him out, the versatility that comes with those running backs.
Yeah,
I think they're in there, and then you take away a Jermaine Burton, and I think Georgia's going to have a little bit of a feeling out process. I think AD is going to have a good year.
AD is going to have a big year. And Lad McConkey's going to have a big year. I think you bring him back. Dominic Blaylock was dominant against Auburn 2 years ago before blowing out his ACL. He hadn't been the same, but he's had a really good spring practice. Kyrus Jackson, not quite what he was 2 years ago either. He'd been battling injuries and recovery, and he was never the same, although, I mean, he did play last year, but he just wasn't the same. He looks to be back a little bit. You get a few guys back from like long, big-time injury stuff. It's going to take some time, but I mean, there's some talent there. We just don't know exactly what we have. Then Eric Gilbert has been apparently much improved. I mean, he's a big tight end, but you can split him out kind of in that Kyle Pitts type role.
Yeah,
he's back.
Yeah, he's back. Okay.
Yeah, he's back. And apparently, he made academic player of the week. I think.
He's the matchup problem if everything works.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as he keeps his, shit together, he'll be okay. As long as he doesn't have any more, personal issues, which knock on wood seems to have a lot of that figured out now, and has gone through the whole process of mental health rehab and things like that. I mean, he's just, he's just kind of messed up. So, but Kirby Smart let him take the year off and get the help that he needed to get, and got back with the program, and he's doing pretty well. Darnell Washington is doing well. I think he was on the verge of transferring, still might. Brock Bowers, of course, he hadn't really done much in the spring. He hadn't done anything in the spring, actually. He had shoulder surgery right after the national championship game.
23 personnel. This is going to be 1982 Georgia football.
Yes. And you got Todd Munkin calling it, so it's going to be like 23. It's going to be like if Wisconsin ran pass plays. That's what it's going to look like. Like Paul Christ might actually watch some Georgia football this year to kind of say, "Oh, that's how you use 23 personnel." Okay,
There you
got
go.
it. So quarterbacks, I think obviously Stetson has been he's been stellar.
Has he set up his NIL deals to set him for life?
Raising Cane's,
Yeah.
he's going to go to law school, dude. He's going to be just fine.
Who's his backup?
Right now, it's Carson Beck. Right now, Carson Beck's the number 2. The
But
Brock Vandegrift.
You mentioned
Gunner
earlier that he was a transfer threat.
I mean, Brock Vandegrift's right on his heels, but as of right now, it's not a solid number 2. It's kind of like he's the number 2 just because that's where he's listed on the depth chart. Honestly, I think Vandegrift's going to overtake him in fall camp. I think it's what's going to happen. Or like if Vandegrift has a better G-Day game, he'll come out of spring as the number 2, and Beck will probably transfer.
Oh, did y'all see the stats over this past weekend at Clemson's scrimmage to where Cade Klubnik absolutely just blew away DJ Mungale or whatever his name?
Good, because I can't pronounce his name anyway.
Good. Yeah.
But yeah, the true freshman, the kid out of Texas, had an unbelievable day, and also the kid from Alabama, the class of 2023, got committed to the Clemson Tigers.
There you go. I mean, I knew Clemson wouldn't be. I mean, they were 10-3. I mean, how down were they? I mean, they kind of sucked on offense a little bit, but
I think we're going to find out this year.
we're gonna really find out what Dabo's made of, because he loses Venables, and of course, he never really recovered after losing Jeff Scott.
Tony Elliott pulling the Arch Manning visit at Virginia.
Yeah, Tony Elliott. That's right. I forgot Tony Elliott left.
Oh, that was impressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know about Arch Manning, but like every aunt that he has is a UVA grad.
And his sister
It's
there, something like that?
His sister and his mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a weird thing, but the women in the Manning family just all go to UVA.
Yeah.
Well, I hope he keeps it to just the women.
Except for Queen Olivia, who went to Ole Miss,
Yes.
obviously. But
Oh, well,
Yeah.
yeah, so
I think
it's,
even Peyton's wife
crazy.
is from UVA.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
yeah.
Well, they have a chance, I guess.
They got as much a chance as anybody. Like I said, when it comes down to that recruitment, I don't think anybody knows what's really going on. A lot of people might be guessing and trying to move tea leaves a certain way or whatever, but nobody knows what's
So you're
going
telling
on.
me he's going to Syracuse? Gotcha.
He could go to Texas, he could go to Ole Miss, he could go to Alabama. I don't think he could go to Georgia since Matt Luke left. But if he went to UVA, I would be.
Let's be honest about the Georgia thing. His number 1 relationship is Buster Faulkner at Georgia.
Well, the Manning's number 1 relationship was Matt Luke.
Yeah, but Buster changed that.
So
I don't know. I have trouble seeing
Buster,
Virginia.
Buster, former offensive coordinator at Southern Miss.
go Mustard Buzzards.
Mustard Buzzards. Yeah.
Mustard Buzzards.
But, I mean, it's been well known that the Manning family has called Buster by name in articles about how good of a recruiting job he's done. And how
Who
good
wrote
of a
those
relationship.
articles?
BusterFaulkner.com. No, I mean, you read like,
John Arch
24/7,
can, Arch can get a huge NIL deal wherever he goes. Do not worry about NIL when it comes to Arch Manning.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't
Get
even think it's
anywhere.
about that. I'd be surprised if he went somewhere where he didn't have a chance to really compete for a title, for a championship. I mean, Virginia's not going to win a championship with him. It's just not going to happen.
Well, it might.
I don't know if they can get
they'll
talent
win the
around.
ACC.
Yeah, well, they might could win the ACC, but not go to the national
They were
championship.
they were 2 years ago. They were in Orange Bowl.
Two years ago, they got blown out in the ACC championship game. They could have been in the playoff.
But they got blown out. So
Well, they got
Yeah.
blown out. Because
That quarterback
Clemson-
for Virginia,
Clemson team was ridiculous.
he either looked really good or he looked sorry as hell.
yeah,
Yeah, it was this weird dynamic that he was almost like, from another UVA quarterback, Aaron Brooks. That's who he reminded me of.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I'm
Perfect.
I'm not saying I think he has to go into the SEC. I think he'd want to go somewhere where he really has a chance, because that seems to be kind of a thing with him anyway. I mean, what happened with Eli and the whole New York Giants thing? Seems like they want him in bigger markets where he's getting his exposure and actually has a chance to win. Now it turns out the Giants were never a good chance.
You think when Eli Manning was drafted to the Giants, did they say, "Hey, I want to go to the Giants because they're a well-run organization and they win"?
No, I think
no.
I want to know what happened whenever they visited the Chargers.
No.
Yeah,
when they visited the Chargers, what happened that let Archie Manning just like, no, there's no
Marty
way.
Schottenheimer
the Chargers.
happened.
Yeah.
The Chargers were a terrible run organization too, though.
Yeah, Marty Schottenheimer happened.
Yeah, and then they traded away Drew Brees. It's like one bad decision after another.
Yeah,
they were that was like
they've come out of it now, but back then they were bad.
To be wanting to be traded to the Giants that year tells you all you need to know about how terribly run the Chargers were at that point.
Yeah, where Kurt Warner was the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, God, the Giants were awful.
By the way, that Kurt Warner movie that came out, actually not bad.
I was going to ask, is it really good?
As far as a sports movie goes.
How's it compared to the Kevin James, Sean Payton?
I enjoyed that one as well, just because I think about Sean Payton not being able to do anything. But Kurt Warner movie was actually a decent movie. And there's also like Chuck cameos in it.
Did you see the dude they got to play Ray Lewis? It's hilarious.
I didn't see that.
I didn't recognize the actor, but I know you're talking.
You're
about.
not going to,
because all he did was just talk noise at him.
He was the Dollar General version of Ray Lewis. They would have been better off just casting Ray himself.
Yeah. It was actually a good movie, and also
Bush League Bolts. That makes sense.
That coach when that. Let's see who signed Kurt Warner. Who was the coach? I can't remember his name.
Dick Vermeil.
Dick Vermeil. He was in that one with Kurt Warner, and he also had a movie called Invincible with Mark Wahlberg with the Philadelphia Eagles. 2 sports movies about Dick Vermeil.
Wow,
gotta love it.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Also, the greatest
Dick Vermeil.
the greatest sports movie of all time.
He was a co-star. Miracle. Okay. I guess we're off the rails now. Let's talk.
Yeah,
movies.
we are off the rails.
Miracle. You know, if I watch that movie 9 times out of 10, I'd love it. But not
tonight. This time.
Not this time. Not tonight. Tonight. I say space. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. That's a tough question. It really is. I mean, for various reasons, I have my favorites. So I'm going to have to kind of talk myself through this a little bit.
Okay.
For obvious reasons that I was in high school at the time, Varsity Blues strikes a chord with me. Because that I was in high school during that time.
You want to see the new touchdown Twitter dance?
Yeah. Ashton End Zone.
What I call that?
Twitter End Zone dance.
Twitter End Zone dance.
The program, for obvious reasons, because it was just so absurd.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a terrible movie, but it was just absurd. James Caan starred in it as the head coach.
Cain is able.
It was a movie about Florida State, but they played in South Carolina Stadium. They played in Williams-Brice.
Yeah.
That movie was incredible. Remember the Titans? I think.
Yeah.
That movie was incredible.
That movie's a good movie. It is.
Very good movie.
Friday Night Lights was incredible. I loved Major League just because of the quotes and Bob Uecker.
I hate this fucking song.
Welcome to Major League Baseball. Sort of.
In case you haven't noticed, and judging by the attendance, you haven't. We're actually going to.
That pitch was just a bit outside. Tried the corner and missed. Ball 4.
Great movie. That's a great movie.
Ball 8. Ball 12.
You know what? And for what they are, the Mighty Ducks movies are good movies.
I was going to mention that. It's hard to even say Miracle's the best hockey movie.
D3 is kind of weak, but D2 is incredible. Like for a sequel, it knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
D2 is the best of that series.
But listen to what I do. I watch Miracle.
Miracle's a very good choice.
I watch Miracle and I'll bump
Sunday.
it up with the 30 for 30 of Miracles and Men.
Yeah, you get the real story. And then,
You get the real story of the game from the Russian perspective.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I see. See what you did.
Yeah.
there.
Any Given Sunday is a great movie too.
yeah, that
My
one
name is
actually really.
It's all about those inches.
And I'm steaming. Will it be, man? I got all the ladies. And they creaming.
Oh, it's horrible.
Steaming Willie Beeman.
Yeah.
I'm just always partial to the comedy, so I like things like
That movie's absurd too.
like Bull Durham, stuff like that. There's
Oh, love Bull Durham.
Yes.
Major League, just the funny ones. Slapshot. Oh,
Rudy.
Rudy's not funny.
No.
Very.
But I talking about sports mood that I think is really underrated. Don't get a lot of talk about.
Rudy.
We are Marshall.
Rudy.
I love that movie.
Oh yeah, that movie's incredible. That movie's kind of like a.
Do y'all want to hear a little factoid?
Let's hear it.
Okay.
Yes, John, I agree.
Do you know the game that Rudy made the sack at the end of the game against Georgia Tech, the famous sack?
Yeah.
Rudy only played that game because Joe Montana was a scratch.
Oh wow.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Got taken off the roster, and that was the only reason Rudy dressed.
Oh, nice.
Huh. Did not know that.
I want you to raise your hand if you're a pussy.
What's
What's
this?
What's this? I just didn't want you to be the only pussy with your hand in the air, Coach.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, any given Sunday's completely absurd, and I'm here for it.
Did anybody see Woodlawn?
What?
Woodlawn? Did anybody see it?
I don't know that one.
No, it's not.
I ain't seen it yet either. It's about.
Me neither.
I just want. Yeah.
Okay.
I just want.
Oh,
I like Coach Carter. Coach Carter's a really good one.
Coach Carter's good.
Gory Road's a pretty good one.
Yeah,
I
I watch
forgot
Coach
about
Carter.
that.
I watch Coach Carter often when it's on like network TV.
But Dennis Quaid is like another person that's like sports movie Hall of Fame. And Any Given Sunday, he was in the Rookie, where he was like a 40-year-old rookie, and he was the coach in that Kurt Warner movie.
And then 42. He was the coach in 42, wasn't he?
I don't know.
He was. I thought he was in
It might have
42.
been.
Yeah, it might have been. He just did sports movies for a time. It's kind of like the Kevin Costner thing where he did Bull Durham, Field of Dreams, for the love of the
Tin Cup.
game.
Yeah, for the love of the game was great. Tin
Yes.
Cup, outstanding.
Yeah.
Like for sports movies, you almost have to like. It's categorical.
Yeah.
Like, what's your favorite football movie?
Everybody's All American. That was. Hey, John, was that the one about Billy Cannon? We'll see if he answers that.
Yeah, answer that. Eyeball on the field is a bit excessive. Yeah, Lawrence Taylor's acting debut.
Of The Water Boy, because I do consider that a sports movie.
Yeah.
That is hands down.
Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
If you're going with those, then I want to throw in Caddyshack too. So.
Caddyshack.
Yeah,
Oh,
Caddyshack is absolutely.
Caddyshack is outstanding. Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder.
Rubbing is racing.
Robin's Racing,
Yeah.
boy.
One of my favorite movies.
What
Days
else?
of Thunder.
What else? Days of Thunder. Love that movie. You had
Talladega Nights, if you want to do a funny version of it.
Talladega Nights.
Talladega Nights.
Are those like those thin pancakes?
I had Ole Miss crepes this morning.
Shake and bake. Yeah.
It's like way down on the list of quotes, but it's hilarious. I love that. Blades of Glory.
Blaze of Glory is good.
Yeah, that's enjoyable.
So that is so absurd. It's great.
Was it Kicking and Screaming? Get the ball to the Italians.
Yeah.
That was similar to Tennessee's basketball strategy this year. That was get it to the Serbians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want an old bad sports one, I like the Ladybugs which is Rodney Dangerfield dressing up a little boy as a girl, so he played on a girl's soccer team.
I love that movie.
Hey,
Love that movie.
Who knew that movie was prophetic?
Yeah, exactly. It's
I know, right?
first transvestite player. Well, anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Except instead of soccer, it's swimming.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that bad?
I have.
And just like in Bugs, they won.
Yeah.
What about Wilmington? Did you ever watch it?
Yes.
You know, I did not. I need to see that.
I mean, of course, Rocky. The whole Rocky series, including Creed.
Yeah.
Except for Rocky 5. Except for Rocky 5. I'm sorry. Him in a street fight, I did not pay to see him in a street fight.
Yeah.
Especially after Rocky 4 and the Russian. You came back and did that? No.
Against Tommy Guns or whatever.
Yeah. Tommy Morrison.
Yeah.
He turned out to be the boxer with AIDS. I was like, that didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. It did not work at all.
Yeah.
You come off 4 phenomenal Rockies.
Mm-hmm.
To
you just
give that one.
completely shit the bed.
Yeah.
But Rocky Balboa is actually a decent movie, even though he's 70 years old boxing.
Yeah. It's a good movie.
And the next 2 Creed movies were perfectly fine.
Yeah.
The Creeds were good.
Creeds were really good.
I enjoyed the Creeds. Then you got all these fighting movies like, the
Kung Fu fighting?
everybody was Kung Fu. Yeah, like Bloodsport and Mortal Kombat. No, I'm just kidding.
It's Bloodsport and Kickboxer.
Anything with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme was awesome.
You got Steven Seagal, who was a sheriff in South Louisiana. I'd hate to live in that parish.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think he lives in Russia now.
I'm going to take you to the bank. The blood bank.
I think Shaq did a little bit of sheriffing. He became a deputy at some point in time.
Speaking of Shaq, Blue Chips.
Yeah, Blue Chips was a good movie.
Nick Nolte is like C-list Gary Busey.
Yeah.
Huh.
Penny Hardaway makes his acting debut.
Yeah, and it served him well whenever he got to Memphis.
Yeah. He just went on with the script of Blue Chips and said, "Okay, this is how college basketball is."
Yeah.
I liked when they brought in some NBA players into Space Jam, which was a great movie until they ruined it with a part 2. But.
Yeah, oh man, the original of that
Sandlot.
The Sandlot is a great movie.
Yeah, that's
You're killing me, Smalls.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Aspen Bambino.
Aspen Extreme.
Yes.
Aspen Extreme.
It's about
that?
skiing, bud.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Oh,
neither.
and the guy that created, he was an actor in this movie, but he went on to direct Friday Night and create Friday Night Lights. What's the Rock and Rob Corddry show on HBO?
Ballers.
The Ballers.
Yeah.
Rob Weiss.
Yeah.
Was it Rob Weiss?
No, it was. If you heard the name, you would know it.
Levinson.
No. It's the guy that played Dexter Rutecki. I even know his name in Aspen Extreme. Doing the bull dance, feeling the flow, working it.
Kevin Nealon. Yep. Happy Gilmore.
Kevin Nealon and Weeds, underrated.
Yeah, that was his best role.
I hadn't seen that one.
Weeds it's a weird show. It was I liked it a lot the first 2 seasons, and it just kind of goes way off the rails. But Kevin Nealon is definitely the best part throughout the rest of that season. The rest of the seasons. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I just don't like the woman that does the lead actress. I can't remember her name. Mary Louise Parker, is that it?
No. Something. But it's
She's
not Parker. The whole thing.
Mary Louise. I don't know. Anyway, I was just watching a movie the other day called Red with Bruce Willis, and she's the lead actress. And I just, for some reason, I don't like her. I don't know why.
Donovan Carter, John David Washington. I'm trying to think of these names here, Steve.
Speaking of Bruce Willis, y'all see he had to retire from acting because of health reasons.
Really?
I know it.
Yeah. Well, and it brings up a lot of interesting questions because he has done a lot of terrible movies recently. Just straight to DVD crap movies that nobody's seen.
Right.
I think they said at the Razzie Awards, they set up a new category that's worst movie by Bruce Willis this year. And there's always several entries every year. Like it's
Peter
bad.
Berg.
And now
Peter Berg, yes.
Okay.
And it just makes you wonder if he had
Pete Berg.
like if he was doing it to make money, or people were saying maybe they were taking advantage of him by getting him to do movies when he didn't really know what's going on. I don't know. I'm real curious what happened there and what was going on with him.
I just hate it.
Yeah,
how about The Scout?
The Scout was a really good movie.
The Last Boy Scout.
Yes.
That was a great one. Yes. Speaking of Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis, one of his favorite movies of mine, of his, is Sin City.
Yeah, that was a really good movie.
Really good movie.
I always really liked Hudson Hawk, but people hate that movie.
Yeah.
I found it hilarious.
Hudson Hawk's a fine movie if you take it for what it is.
Right.
Yeah, it's a joke. I thought it was hilarious. I don't know.
It's like people that watch comic book movies that you might see Iron Man 4 or whatever, and you're like, oh, it was predictable, the ending. It's like, no shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
God.
Ain't life a bitch. Bang. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's The Last Boy Scout.
Yep.
Man.
There, another tornado in Newton. That's where my dad lives.
Oh,
After they just had a tornado skip over his house, and there's another one going on. It's like, good grief. You know, honestly, if you live in Mississippi or Louisiana, there's a plague, and there's with all this weather going on, you have to
Same with
wonder.
Alabama.
If you have to wonder if you're like Egypt was back in the day. There's something going on.
It has rained like every week this year in Alabama, and we still have over 40 wildfires going on in the southern part of the.
What is going on? That's one of the reasons I enjoy living in Florida, is just because the weather's halfway normal.
Right.
And that's saying that about Florida.
Yeah.
I would agree with you, but it seems like you're getting the plagues in your house.
Yeah.
You had locusts and floods, and
Yeah.
that's been crazy.
Well, at least down here I can blame DeSantis.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
So y'all had a locust problem too, Steve?
No. No, we had a termite swarm, by the way.
yeah.
Oh, that's not even. That's not good either.
Yeah. So that got taken care of, and the day that they came to fix the termites is when the plumbers flooded my house. So I just had 2 weeks of hell, man.
Yeah. Made me glad I was in Tennessee. Oh.
Yeah. And we're not even through painting and do the kitchen, so sorry about that, Jeb.
Oh, no.
I was going to say, he's had all this problem while you've been gone. Your house has probably been ramsacked. He probably haven't been paying attention, checking on it since you've been gone. So
I was surprised me.
Oh boy.
We turned the air conditioner down a couple degrees on the thermostat, just so it'd be a little cooler when you got there. It wouldn't be as hard to deal with.
So speaking of, what is the perfect setting on the thermostat?
I just had my air conditioner put in right before I left, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to learn it when I get down there.
What did you say?
72.
68.
Yeah, I got mine on 68 too.
Yeah,
That's what I keep it at.
I just think it's different up here than in Florida. So
Right, yeah.
I'll figure it out when I get down there.
John, same room, man. It's just a different green screen background. I just like the center blocks.
Yeah.
Next week he's gonna have caution tape up there.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to try and find the renovation thing. That's what I'm going for. It's like I'm stuck in the basement doing the show.
Yeah. Yep.
That's right.
Oh me.
All right. Well, it's almost 11. We probably need to get out of here.
Yeah, we probably do.
I don't have to go to bed tonight. I can just stay up like I've been doing all week. So
Yeah, there you go.
I'm off all week because it's my birthday. So
All right. Enjoy it.
Nice.
Enjoy your 31st birthday. Good grief, man.
yeah. But
When I graduated high school, you were like 3.
I know. Don't remind me. I was telling everybody we had a party this past weekend from on my side, and I was telling them, said people was like, "Oh, I can't believe you're turning 31." I said, "Yeah, but the problem is, I still got like 40 plus years before I can retire. I mean, I'm putting it in perspective here.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a long time before I can retire. So, yeah, it kind of sucks when you think about it like that."
Yeah.
Let's see this real quick before we get out of here.
Puppy dog years. What's 31 times 7? I'd be dead way in the ground.
Yeah.
It's still storming here. I guess we're
Yeah, I was
getting
gonna
line
say
after
that-
line after line.
Yeah,
It's
they
been on for a while.
Yeah, mine's fixing to come in. They just put us under severe thunderstorm warning, but the storms are still far out.
Yeah, we had a tornado watch until 10 o'clock. It was 10 o'clock, and we're just now getting.
217 years old. God, I'd be about as old as Steve then.
Oh, Jesus
Hey,
Christ.
now you're catching on. Now you're catching on. I love
Yeah.
it.
I was the RA in Valley Forge.
Yeah,
He was the RA in the Crusades.
he was the caveman that invented fire for us. Y'all give him some credit. You know,
Steve killed the dinosaurs.
Yeah,
That meteor was Stephen Willis.
that's right. Whoa! Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There's your good background.
Yeah, I want the background next week, like I said, whenever we're doing this renovation. So I'm thinking like this one, very industrial and renovation themed. So I'll try to come up with a new picture next week because I'm using this one on my other show as well.
You should get one like with a trailer, so like it's like your temporary set, you know. It's like a construction trailer.
Yeah,
Just put a thing back there with a tarp on the roof.
Yeah,
there you go.
you're like outside.
Yeah,
Next week would be the perfect one to do from the pool.
it would be.
It would if it would hurry up and warm up.
You're in Florida, bro.
Yeah, no. It's been like every fourth day it'd get down below 50 degrees, which makes the pool water too cold.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
It's Florida.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's Florida, man.
It's always warm in Florida. What?
But it looks like the temperature going on is like 89 degrees and then low of 68 or 69 degrees.
It's gonna warm up quick.
Yeah. So
Yep.
By the way, I think Amarius Mims is going to sign with Florida State, so thank God he goes to the ACC. But that's going to be great for Florida State.
they're a quarterback from away from being tough. Florida State and Miami is about to become a real deal, and I feel sorry for Clemson.
Ooh.
But do you though?
Ooh.
Do you?
Yeah, they're about to become a real deal. As long as Mario Cristobal, he needs to bring back the original Miami jerseys and not the Adidas bastardized version of the Miami jerseys.
What about the softness? What if he brings that from Oregon?
What's that?
What if he brings back he brings down the softness he had at
What
Oregon?
if he? I mean, he probably
Yeah.
already did.
Well, yeah. that's
Yes.
true. I mean,
Who is their offensive coordinator?
It's a
They
good
have-
question.
yeah, it's a good question. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
they hired somebody that didn't really fit.
I thought
That
Rhett
fit what he
Lashley.
did at Oregon. No, Rhett Lashley's the head coach at SMU.
That's
yeah,
right.
that's right. Let's see. Miami football coaching staff. Google. The Googlies.
I don't know. I think the SEC is getting tough now. I mean, Clemson's run that conference for several years now.
But
It's
if
getting
you think about it,
tough.
Florida State ran it for 25 years before then.
Yeah,
Right.
they did.
They have a department of Hurricane Global Partnerships Legends.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Lou Ferrigno is the senior associate AD Performance Health and Wellness.
Whoa!
Just
Lightning
kidding.
flash. Woo! That was
Yeah,
awesome.
begin-
I heard that one. Nice.
Josh Gaddis is the offensive coordinator.
That's right.
He went down there from Michigan.
Oh.
Oh, my dog is going haywire.
Ooh, they have Mike Rumpf. on staff. Edwin Pata, they got some people from the U now.
They got Kevin James to come down there. That was the Ole Miss running backs coach.
Yeah. Ed Reed is still there.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the actor. I was like, what?
Yeah, I was impressed.
Me
Now he
too.
thinks he is Sean Payton.
Malkoff is now the running backs coach.
I was like, damn, okay. All right.
By the way, I'm excited for everybody on the Locked On Network on our show. We just hired John Garcia Jr. to be our recruiting analyst. So starting in a week or two, about every 2 weeks, we're going to have a recruiting coverage on Ole Miss recruiting on the show.
That's
Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
cool. Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, that should be really good. We also have a British kid that I brought in that's going to take over in August. He's going to be an exchange student at Ole Miss, and he's going to basically be the eyes and ears on the ground in Oxford, Mississippi.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, we're growing like crazy. He's also going to have a weekly spot on the show as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, we have Bill Flowers and all that as well. So man, we are growing like crazy. This renovation slowed us down, but I mean the growth was already happening.
Right.
There you go.
Mhm.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us here on the SEC After Dark podcast. We are coming at you on the Bleav Network, on y'all's conference network. We're kind of like doing that whole simulcasting thing. It's working out well for us. So you can hear the audio side on my Bleav channel, Beast of the East. It'll be a bonus feature, so you can differentiate between the two on the episodes. And then, of course, you can find it just about anywhere. It's going to be with the fastest growing nighttime sports show. We say we're SEC, and we mostly are, but we get off topic just a little bit sometimes. And we get
Yeah,
off
I'm getting
Just a little bit.
4,000 downloads a week just for the audio
Nice.
for this
Excellent.
show. On my what about your podcast channel?
I have not looked at the numbers, but
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I'm not sure about ours either, but I will say real quick on a Tide Talk, we're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers before the start of football season, and if we do, we're going to be giving away a $50 gift card. If we get there, we're going to draw a name of all of the subscribers, and
there you go.
So subscribe for a chance to win a $50 gift card. You can use it for gas as much because you probably fill up a tank as much as gas.
Locked On Ole Miss, the YouTube channel, the Locked On Ole Miss YouTube channel. If we get to 1,000 subscribers before football season, we're going to do a live post-game show. We're going to do post-game live with Bill Flowers, Ole Miss legend.
Nice.
Nice.
That's awesome. So go like and subscribe, everybody. To all of our, and Jeb's got his on. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm not even on social media except for this show.
On Bleav In Dawgs, we are growing, not rapidly, but we're growing steadily. Ironically, our Facebook page has seen the most rapid growth as far as that goes. We're almost to 1,000 on our Facebook page, which will pump out our content, so that's good. So just keep listening there. We're gonna have Joe DeLeon from the Bleav In FCS, as well as the NFL Draft Prospects podcast on the Bleav Network. We're going to have him on to talk about the NFL Draft and the Georgia players that are going to be involved in being selected and where he thinks they will fit. So we'll have him. Israel and I will have him on. So stay tuned for that at the tail end of this week. And again, you can find us here as always. So that's going to do it. We hope you enjoyed. We hope you come back. We'll see you back here next Wednesday. Jake, be safe.
Yeah, seriously, everybody.
Y'all too.
Yeah.
Anybody in the line of these storms, Jeb, be safe. I think I'm out of it. I'm further west than you, Jeb, so I think I'm out of it. I think I'm just going to get a few rumbles of thunder and some rain. But everybody be safe.
It's on top of me now. I hear it crazy out there.
Oh yeah, we heard it.
Yeah.
We heard.
Yeah.
That was impressive.
Everybody heard it, Jake.
Okay. All right.
So y'all be safe. We'll catch you next week. Goodbye.
All right. See
Bye,
you.
buddy.
And the thunder rolls. And the lightning strikes.
Boom, boom, boom.
Another love grows cold on a sleepless night.
There's a storm